kicked off. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining the Intuit Insider Look series. Today we're talking about a day in the life of a remote tax professional. My name is Laura and I will be your moderator for today. All right, a few housekeeping items before we get started. Please note that the chat box is disabled there at the bottom of the screen. However, you can use the Q&A box. This is where you want to put all your questions. So feel free to add any questions that come up. We do have a full team of professionals behind the scenes that will be answering questions live during our webinar. We do our best to make sure we cover all the information you might have. However, again, if we're nearing the end of time and you haven't heard your question, don't be afraid to ask. All right, and also rest assured that we are going to follow up today's webinar with a recording in case you miss anything. You will also notice a QR code there on our slide deck. At any point during our presentation, do feel free to scan that and apply to become a TurboTax Live tax professional. And we've also just dropped the link as well into the chat box. All right, so with that, we're going to begin. All right, we've got a lot of information to cover today, right? We want you to feel good about understanding who Intuit is, TurboTax Live, our roles, and make sure you have a very firm grounding as to what you can expect when you apply. So stay with us, ask questions. This information is really going to give you kind of the full scope and background that you'll need in order to be 100% certain when applying for a role with us. So here's our agenda. We're going to start off with a quick round of introductions for our panelists. You will get to hear about Intuit and our mission. We'll, of course, talk about TurboTax Live and why this is an organization that you're going to want to be a part of. You'll also hear from a real-life, actual TurboTax Live expert, so someone who was once in your shoes and thought that this job could be a good fit for them. They applied, they went through the interview process themselves and have now turned this into a career. So you'll be hearing from Joe today, who's going to talk to you about his journey. And then finally, you'll also be hearing from a TurboTax Live recruiter who will talk to you about what it takes to apply and become a part of the team. You'll hear from Santiago, who will discuss the types of positions we are hiring for, the actual step-by-step process you'll follow from recruitment all the way through onboarding, and most importantly, some helpful tips for conducting a successful interview. Now, you're also going to learn how you can get ahead of the game and have your application stand out from the crowd by taking some of our supplementary free online tax courses from our very own Intuit Academy. And of course, with any time left, we're going to make sure we answer some questions so that you have all the information you need in order to get yourself on this incredible team of experts. All right, so let's learn a little bit more about who you're going to be hearing from today. I would like to bring our amazing team of TurboTax Live panelists onto our virtual stage here to introduce themselves. Please join me, Santiago and Joe. How are you both doing today?
Great, thank you.
Doing well, thank you.
Fantastic. All right, give us a quick introduction of yourself, how long you've been with Intuit, what your role is and what you do here at Intuit, and of course, where you're calling in from. Santiago, let's start with you.
Oh, thank you, Laura. So my name is Santiago Barrientos. I've been with this team for about 5 seasons now, working on all things TurboTax. I started as a bilingual recruiter, and I've also had a chance to work on this team as a team lead. I am calling from what is normally a warm state in Texas, but maybe not today.
And my name is Joe Bedford. I'm heading into my 5th tax season with Intuit. I currently support our learning and development and our quality review teams. And I am calling in from normally semi-warm Knoxville, Tennessee, but unfortunately we have about 9 inches of snow on the ground currently.
Too cold.
Very.
Well, it's great to have both of you here. Again, my name is Laura and I'm your host. I have 15 years of recruiting experience and have been with Intuit going on 7 years. I work across all our business units, but I am primarily supporting our expert network and our QuickBooks Live team, but also, of course, helping TurboTax continue to scale. Okay, so we're going to dive in now and first talk about our company and our mission. Next slide, please. All right, so Intuit's journey began about 40 years ago when our founder, Scott Cook, sat at his kitchen table and he watched his wife as she struggled to balance her checkbook. And he thought, there must be a better way to do this accounting. Intuit is the culmination of that small idea, the concept of making everyday finance easier, which has evolved Intuit into a global technology giant in the financial services industry. So today we have 4 key products in our portfolio: TurboTax Live, QuickBooks Live, Credit Karma, and MailChimp. But we're still driven by that same core vision that founded the company. There must be a better way to help our customers financially. Now, TurboTax Live, which is the product you're all here for today, is our largest and most well-known brand out there. In US and Canada, TurboTax is by far the leader. It's the #1 do-it-yourself tax tool that's out there. Now, all of you on this call are here today because of the fact that you have an interest in taxes, accounting, and you're interested in becoming tax experts. Now, the reality is, if you're not doing someone's taxes and they're doing it themselves, they are likely using TurboTax to do it. Here at Intuit, we have over 50 million individual tax filers across the US alone who use TurboTax to do their taxes. So we really are the leader in this space. Now, Intuit's mission is powering prosperity around the world. This means with our consumers and with our customers, who could be anyone from your individual tax filer to a consumer who uses Credit Karma, or a small business owner looking to make sure that they can manage their business financials. Now, in any case, our goal for you is that each of you are powering your own prosperity and that you're putting more money in your pocket. And we're making sure that you can use your money as a tool to grow your personal wealth and life in a way that ensures that you're not living paycheck to paycheck, but rather you know where your money is and how it's growing. So powering prosperity around the world is everything from making sure our consumers are getting the biggest possible tax returns to making sure our small business owners globally are able to get the money they need to make their business a success. Each one of our 4 products is created with this mission in mind, helping people power their own prosperity. All right, so why work for Intuit? Let's dig in a little bit more here. Intuit is one of the top companies to work with. Now I'll talk through why we are from many distinguished organizations that have ranked us as the best place to work. Just this year, Fortune magazine ranked us number 14 on their 100 best companies to work for in the US. So that means 7,500 companies are surveyed on the best places to work index on Fortune's 500 best. And out of those 7,500 companies, we were ranked number 14. Now, this has to do with many things, right? How we treat our employees, how our employees are evaluated and paid, and the ability to make sure that each employee has a successful career in terms of job growth and recognition. There are many ways here in which Intuit walks the walk and doesn't just talk the talk. Here's a fun fact for you. We've been on this list for more than 20 years and almost exclusively in the top 20 best places to work. Forbes lists Intuit as America's best employers for diversity. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are not just buzzwords for us. We have had a Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for years, and this is core to who we are. This runs deeply throughout our organization. We focus a great deal on equitability so that every employee has the opportunity to be successful in their career, and that our team better represents the millions of customers that we support. Now, we've also been listed by Glassdoor's Best Places to Work, Employees' Choice. And then, of course, I've already talked about how TurboTax Live is the #1 tax provider with over 50 million unique taxpayers filing their tax returns each year. Okay, so here is why we're asking you to be here. We're asking you to work as experts because we have a giant virtual network of tax professionals like yourselves who are out there to help those 50 million taxpayers get those taxes filed. Now, most consumers who are filing their taxes do not have your knowledge or expertise. In fact, they have a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt when it comes to filing their taxes. They're worried they're not getting the right or the largest possible tax return, and they're also worried they might get audited. That tax refund check really matters to people, and everyone is concerned that they're not getting the right amount of money back. So that is exactly why we need our remote tax professionals to come in and help reduce some of this fear and uncertainty and doubt when it comes to successfully filing your taxes. So we're looking for people like you who know taxes and are professionals in this area, who can come in and talk live on camera with our customers, walk through their tax returns and help them, or in some cases, actually prepare and do their taxes for them. So it's a great opportunity. You're going to get to connect with people from all 50 states and, again, really support and help those taxpayers with their filing needs. Okay, so we're going to zoom in and talk a little bit more about why TurboTax Live. So even in today's economy, the need for TurboTax Live experts to join our team only continues to grow. Unlike other jobs out there in the market today, our roles here have been stable and continue to be resilient to the economy, again, as the need to hire tax experts like yourselves just grows year after year. Now, what do you get if you come to work with us? I'm going to bring up our TurboTax Live recruiter to speak to you about the benefits that you will get if you accept a job here with TurboTax Live. So Santiago, over to you to talk about benefits.
Thank you, Laura. So yes, first and foremost, you'll get to work remote from your home or home office. This is going to be a fully remote job. So as long as you are within the US, you can work where you like. Now, you will also be able to select a schedule that best works for you with our scheduling model. So for scheduling, during the tax season, we're going to be offering work schedules that are on a first come, first served basis around our operating hours. Now, our normal operating hours are going to be from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. However, during the tax season, we have extended seasonal hours where we are open 7 days a week from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time, which is going to be 8 a.m. to midnight Eastern. Now, this normally starts mid-January and runs through April. Now, just keep in mind, you must be able to commit to a minimum schedule of at least 20 hours a week, minimum of 4-hour blocks throughout the tax season. Now, no matter what role you're in, we're going to be offering some great benefits. So for example, we offer a 401k savings plan and Intuit matching program. So for every dollar that you contribute, Intuit will contribute $1.25, up to 6%. And you're going to be vested on day one. Now, if you do come back year after year, we're going to continue to match over and over for you as you work through the seasons. We're also going to have our employee stock purchase plan. This is going to give you the opportunity to buy stock at employee prices. Now, if you are interested in stock, I would say take a look at how we're doing. This is a great benefit. Now, we also have an employee assistance program and paid sick leave. And you also get product discounts as well as a free copy of TurboTax for personal use. Now, all of these benefits are available to you, even though it's just a seasonal 4 months out of the year job.
Awesome. That is a great list. Thank you so much, Santiago. Okay, so there are typically 3 major areas where we see our tax experts come to work for Intuit, and they do the job well. So let's talk through these. The first area are those who are in pre-retirement or maybe fully retired. Maybe you've run your own business for many years in the past, but you don't want to be your own boss anymore with all that responsibility. But you're still an expert in this space. So why not sign up for a job where you can work remote, choose your work schedule, and make extra money during the tax season? The second area are experts with a full-time job already who want to make some extra money outside of their full-time job during the tax season. Now, this is a great opportunity for you. We offer 7 days a week, and you can, again, select time slots and a shift that works best for your schedule. Now, the third area are those who have been in business for just a little bit, maybe 3-4 years, but you want to learn as much as you can about taxes. So you come to this job in order to broaden your knowledge and expertise. Now, the reality is, it doesn't matter how long you've been working in the tax industry. Even those who have worked in the tax industry for 40 plus years, they'll learn something new working for TurboTax Live. And again, the reason why that is because you're going to talk with people from all 50 states. You'll get all kinds of different questions from the different states that you're working with. But don't worry, you will always have a TurboTax Live professional network and resources available to help you gain more knowledge. So again, right, working with all these different people really does help you expand your knowledge and expertise. So those are the 3 key areas where we see our hires from: partially to fully retired, people who want to treat this as a side gig to earn extra money, and people looking to expand their knowledge about taxes. So if you fall into one of these categories, then this is definitely the right job for you. All right, I'm going to hand things back over to Santiago now, who is going to talk about the positions and the qualifications for each.
Thank you, Laura. And thank you all for joining us today. So let's take a look at the roles that we're hiring for. So of course, your recruiter will help you better understand each role and how your skills and experience match up to the requirements of the role that you're interested in. So right now, we are currently hiring for the tax associate role as well as the credentialed tax expert role. Now, our tax associates do have a minimum of 2 or more seasons of paid tax preparation experience, preparing a minimum of 30 or more returns each season, as well as an active preparer tax identification number, or PTIN. Now, our tax associates assist customers with their basic to complex tax questions using their knowledge of tax laws and concepts, along with tools and resources that are provided by Intuit to help agents quickly and thoroughly research that tax information. Now, if requested, our tax associates could also assist with the preparation and filing of 1040 returns. Now, just as a side note for our tax associates that are interested in becoming an enrolled agent, Intuit's ProDev team can help our tax associate become or get their EA credentials by providing study materials, mentors, and financial assistance with the exam. Best part about it is that it's all at no cost to you. Now, once you have successfully passed your EA exams and obtained the EA license from the IRS, you can then be considered for our credentialed tax expert role. So like our tax associate role, our tax expert role also is going to require a minimum of 2 or more seasons of paid tax preparation experience. Once again, doing a minimum of 30 or more returns each season, as well as an active PTIN. But our tax experts must also be a licensed and active CPA, enrolled agent, or a practicing attorney. Now, keep in mind the tax expert role doesn't only give tax advice, but they provide tax filing services from start to finish when requested. Now, as a recap, our tax associate and tax expert role are all sharing a few basic things. So they're all seasonal and virtual customer-facing roles by phone or video, and do require a commitment of 20 hours minimum per week. Now, in each role, you will be providing live tax advice, research and answer tax questions, and or fully prepare customer returns when needed. There's going to be paid training and equipment provided for each role. And of course, because we offer TurboTax in Spanish, being bilingual is definitely a plus. Now, I'll pass it back over to Laura to kick off our first poll.
Awesome. Thank you so much for covering the roles and the job requirements. We want to hear from you now. If you are considering applying for one of our roles, we would like to know, how many years of paid tax experience do you have? So no paid experience yet, less than a year, 1 to 2 years, 2 to 4, or more than 5 years. All right, take a moment and let us know. All right, let's see what everyone said. Maybe a few more people are getting their answers in. Do we have the results? Here they are. Okay. All right. We've got about half of us with no paid experience yet. All right. We are going to address that a little bit later in the webinar. And then kind of split evenly between 1 to 2, 2 to 4, and a good amount with about 5 years. Okay. Thank you so much for participating. All right. Coming up next is our guest speaker, Joe. He is a select time TurboTax expert here at Intuit, who again was once in your shoes applying for a seasonal tax expert role, and he has moved his way up into a year-round role, which we refer to as our select time employees. Now, before he joins us on the virtual stage, we're going to play a short video which features a day in the life of a tax expert. Fantastic. All right. Welcome back, Joe. We are excited to get some insights from you about your career journey here. Why don't you start off with, again, remind us of your role here, what you're doing, and where you're calling in from.
Sure, thanks, Laura. So yes, I support currently our learning and development and our quality review team here at Intuit. I'm calling in from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm heading into my 5th tax season with Intuit.
Super. All right. So we want to know, what does a typical day look like, especially when you were in that seasonal position as a tax expert? What did your workday consist of? And, what should folks on the call expect?
Right. So yeah, my role has changed quite a bit since I first started. But yes, when I first started, I was a seasonal tax expert, the same role that the folks on this call today are considering. So originally, my day was almost exclusively taking phone calls and chats from customers who were using the TurboTax software to prepare their own tax returns, and they had questions or issues. This was a really great way for me to become really familiar with the TurboTax software, and that is very critical to success in this job. Now, call volume, as you would imagine, varies. Sometimes there is space in between calls that you can use to study up on TurboTax or, maybe some new tax rules that have come down the pike. Other times the calls are more or less constant, though I do want to stress that you're always given time to wrap up the preceding call before you get a new call. So when I first started as a seasonal tax expert, this is also when I was introduced to our daily team huddles that we have. These were really helpful for me for team building and for feeling like I was really a part of something. I know sometimes folks worry about feeling isolated working remotely. I can tell you that's not been the case for me, and I think the daily team huddles were a big, part of that. Now, over time, as I've been at Intuit and even in the tax expert role, our products have changed quite a bit. So like I said, early on, I was mostly guiding clients who were doing their own tax returns. Later on, I was actually completing tax returns for clients, although not in real time. So think of it more like we were sending messages back and forth. And now our current product offering involves completing the tax return with the client live on the phone with us in real time. So one last thing I want to mention for folks is that when I was a seasonal tax expert, I did get to participate in a lot of other little fun projects. So I think that's nice to know that that might be a possibility if that's something that folks are interested in. And actually, one of those projects led pretty directly into my current role with the company. There were some sort of long range projects. There was a full service training project. I worked on the interview team. And then there were little one-off projects too. So it stays interesting is really the takeaway I want folks to hear. And now the calls vary seasonally as well. As you'd expect during the busy season, you're mostly dealing with, doing tax returns or helping with tax returns. After I went year round during the off season, you get different types of calls, maybe audit calls, they got some sort of notice from the IRS or the state, or they're checking on their return status, things like that. So there's some variety to the calls throughout the year.
Oh, that's a lot of great detail. Thank you so much. Very helpful. Okay, so when you first started working here at Intuit, what equipment and resources were you provided?
So equipment first, I was provided with a complete laptop system, a webcam, and a headset. And I really want to stress too, all needed connections were included. The instructions were clear. It was truly a plug and play experience. I'm no tech guru, but I was able to get everything set up and running easily. I got a coffee mug too, which was cool. Now, later on, after I started doing full service, I was provided with an additional computer monitor. Now, as far as resources, my favorite resource that we're provided with is access to the tax book. It's an excellent online tax reference. Some of the folks on the call may be familiar with it. And if they use that in their own practice, they know that they have to pay for it. But Intuit does provide that to us to help us take care of our customers.
Awesome. All right, talk to us a little bit more about growing your career, right? You were a seasonal expert, and now you've made a transition to becoming year-round and a select time employee. How did you make that transition?
Well, probably the most important thing I'm going to say on this entire call, so I really want to make sure that folks hear this. I have been so blown away by how much I've been able to learn about taxes working here. We are exposed to a much wider gamut of tax situations than I think one would encounter in a typical local practice. Things like multi-state issues, expatriate issues, military issues, and that's just to name a few off the top of my head. Now, I was also provided with multiple resources to help me satisfy my continuing education requirements, and many of those were free. And I was also encouraged to obtain my QuickBooks Online Advanced certification, but more importantly, I was given all the necessary tools and resources to achieve that. Now, we've also already touched on, that I was able to move from a seasonal position into a year-round position. I was actually very fortunate how the timing worked out. I started as a seasonal expert in January of 2020, so right before the pandemic hit. I only expected to work till April. I did quickly fall in love with the job, so when Intuit asked me if I wanted to extend for a few months due to the extension of the tax deadline, I jumped on the opportunity. Then around June, Intuit announced the very first year-round positions. We've used that phrase select time. That's what we call our year-round position. I wasn't sure if I stood a chance because I was still a very new employee. I can tell you I did very much focus on achieving the best call metrics I could. Just to tell you briefly about our call metrics, this is how we're graded, for want of a better word, on our performance in the job. And what I can tell you about the call metrics is they are very customer focused. So in other words, if you're doing a good job of taking care of your customers, your call metrics are going to reflect that. whatever I did anyway, apparently it did the trick. I made the cut. I've been here ever since. And then as I've alluded to, one of my projects, the training project, has morphed into a new position for me here at Intuit.
That's awesome. All right, thank you for sharing that. Let's shift the conversation a little bit and talk more about the culture here at Intuit. Right, you heard me speak about Intuit's awards and brand recognition as a company, but we'd like to know your thoughts about the culture and how you would describe it.
From somebody, you know, who lives and works in the culture every day. The thing is, though, I struggle with this a little bit. You know, I don't want to make people roll their eyes. I don't want it to sound cliched, but, you know, it's a curse of working for a great company, I guess. Because I'm telling the truth when I say that this truly is a work, family, and a team effort. Everyone here helps everyone. We collaborate with each other to take good care of our customers and clients. There is very little ego around here. Everyone has been so generous with their knowledge and their expertise, and nobody is judged for acknowledging areas where they still have more to learn. Quite on the contrary, that is encouraged and rewarded.
Wonderful. All right, couple more questions. What about the benefits that you enjoy most working here?
So a couple of these are repeats of stuff Santiago already mentioned, but it's worth repeating. The 401k match, I love this, you know, because the way I explain it is, you know, here at Intuit, you know, we try to do a little bit more than is expected. We try to do that with our customers, and the company does that for us. Lots of places offer a dollar for dollar 401k match, and that's great. Intuit offers $1.25 per dollar, up to 6%. I think that's very generous and just a little extra. The employee stock purchase program allows you to buy Intuit stock at a discount if you want to. So you're starting out ahead of the game thanks to the discount. But if I'm being honest, probably my favorite perk are just the little unexpected rewards that we get from time to time. Little gift certificates and the like. It just makes me feel like my efforts are being seen and, I guess perhaps more importantly, are genuinely appreciated.
Excellent. All right, what about working from home? What's that like for you?
So, and I know there are different opinions about this, but working from home is my favorite part of the job. I mean, first of all, there's no doubt in my mind that I am more productive in this environment. The money and time benefits, I don't think should be glossed over. I don't have to waste time commuting. I don't have the travel expenses that I would have. And my favorite part of it is, it's just good for my soul. I can take my lunch break with my wife on our patio. That's the best break room a guy could ask for, right? And I've already touched on, some folks are concerned about feeling isolated working remotely. And all I can say is, and I've just not found that to be the case.
Great. All right. Last question. Any piece of advice that you want to offer to the folks on the call who are thinking about making this leap to Intuit?
Well, obviously, I'm going to say give it a try because that's what I did. The one specific that I want to re-emphasize, go check out Intuit on Glassdoor.com. The reason I mention them specifically is that's what I did. And that was probably the number one factor that made me want to move forward with Intuit. Glassdoor is what real employees that work for the company think about the company anonymously. And the thing is, when I was looking at the different companies that I could go to work for, it wasn't even close. Intuit was head and shoulders above the competition in employee satisfaction. Additionally, I've already spoke to how much I've been able to learn, how that's helped me grow my career. And I do think that's a unique benefit that you're just not going to get anywhere else, at least to the same extent. The flexibility can't be beat. My work-life balance is outstanding because I get to choose the hours that I work. And I should probably mention that's despite the fact that I've continued to have a private practice on the side. And not to mention, we just enjoy working with each other here. I have made, not just coworkers, but friends, though it's remote. And we just have lots of fun while, providing our customers the best service that we can.
Wonderful. Well, this has been a incredible conversation, Joe. Thank you for your honesty and sharing your story and your experiences. I'm sure everyone loved hearing from you. Now, if anyone has any questions, you can pop them in the Q&A. I'm sure Joe will be happy to respond to them.
Absolutely. Thanks, Laura.
All right, so we're going to move on. It is time for our second poll today. All right, we want to hear from you. After hearing from Joe, what interests you most about being a tax professional here at Intuit? Is it earning that extra income? Is it growing your tax expertise? Maybe it's choosing a schedule that suits you. Could it be working remotely with clients across 50 states? Receiving Intuit employee benefits? All of the above? Or maybe you're not sure that this opportunity is right for you, and that's okay too. We're eager to hear from you. All right, let's see what everybody said. Woo, 70%, all of the above. That is wonderful news. Love seeing that. Okay. So you now have all the information, right? But how do you join our community here of TurboTax Live professionals? I'm going to pass it back over to Santiago, who will walk you through the recruitment process.
Thank you, Laura. So we're going to do a couple things. So we're going to dive into how to join our team step-by-step guide. And then I will also provide a few tips and tricks for your interview. So let's dive into the how do you join your team first. So once you apply to the role that interests you, you will receive an Intuit candidate portal email. Now, this email will allow you to add more information about yourself. So for example, uploading a resume, and it'll also help to follow along your hiring journey. Now, you can use the link inside of the portal to be connected to a recruiter who will be scheduling time for a phone screen with you. Now, once you are connected with a recruiter, your recruiter will go through some basic screening questions to help that you are qualified for the role that you've applied for, and if not, discuss some alternative opportunities depending on availability. Now, your recruiter will also share information on our paid training, our pay rates, which, by the way, take into consideration your skills, experience, but are also going to be regionally driven based on the state that you live and work in during the tax season. Now, they will let you know about our end of season performance bonus. And once again, that is going to be differ based on the role that you are hired for. And then finally, they will also go over hours of operation, technical requirements, and answer any questions you may have before moving on to the next steps. Now, if you meet all the qualifications for the role that you've applied for and you're still interested in moving forward, your recruiter will then request a digital interview link to be sent from HireVue, which is our digital interview team. Now, our interview process takes approximately 60 to 90 minutes, and it consists of a handful of video questions, several multiple choice questions, and a few short answer questions. Now, they're all going to be open book, so be encouraged to use resources that you're familiar with, as well as a few recommendations that you may get from the team. Now, the best part is you can complete your interview in the comfort of your home or office when it's most convenient for you. Now, once you have actually submitted your digital interview, it'll be evaluated by our hiring managers. And usually within a week or so, your recruiter will hopefully receive successful results of that interview and reach out to you with a verbal offer. Now, at this point in time, your recruiter would be confirming your pay rate, end of season, bonus potential, season start and end dates, as well as a little bit of information around the training program and any and other tasks that are going to be needed to get your onboarding started. Now, if you accept that verbal offer, you at that point in time will be connected to a coordinator who will be sending you a link from HireRight to initiate a background check. Now, once your background is submitted, we will send your offer letter for review and signature through DocuSign. Now, there's going to be a few other onboarding tasks that are required by Intuit. So first, you'll have to successfully pass an internet speed test, which just confirms that your internet line meets the required upload and download speeds for the role. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. Your internet line must be hardwired, and we do not allow the use of hotspots, cell phones, or satellite internet to perform these roles. We will also request a copy of your active PTIN for both the tax associate and the tax expert roles. And for our tax experts, a credential verification will be conducted by HireRight during the background check process. Now, one last thing to remember is that folks must already have or be able to obtain any related licenses, certificates, permits, and/or bonds that are going to be required by your specific state. Now, as soon as all of the required tasks have been successfully completed, you will finalize onboarding and receive email with access to the Intuit Expert portal. Here, you'll be able to complete any new hire paperwork, complete your I-9 requests, and very important is that you'll be able to create your work schedule based on the hours of operation during the tax season. Now, just as a reminder, we are open 7 days a week from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time. And just keep in mind that your work schedule must be a minimum of 20 hours per week and will be created in 4-hour increments, including weekends. Now, finally, we'll confirm your shipping address for the equipment that's going to arrive either on or around your start date. And then just as a reminder, agents receive a laptop, camera, and headsets to use for the role. Now, your designated seasonal manager will reach out to you before you start to confirm a little bit of training information. Now, that's going to be 17 days of paid training. That's going to be a mixture of online modules, as well as some live calls with the team. Both of them, you should be able to fit into your schedule. And then once your training is complete, you'll be able to go live and ready to start assisting our TurboTax Live customers. Now, so I know I mentioned a few step-by-steps, and now here's going to be those few tips to help you prepare either for your phone screen as well as a successful interview using HireView. So the first with the phone screen. So once you've applied, just be prepared to hear from your recruiter anytime during normal business hours. Feel free to schedule that call using the candidate portal invite that I mentioned earlier, and you receive that when you first apply. Now, have your resume updated and ready to submit or review with your recruiter in preparation for that phone screen. And if all goes well and you move forward with your screening, be prepared to conduct that digital interview within 24 to 48 hours after your phone screen. Now, once you do receive your HireView link, definitely set aside 90 minutes in a quiet location and free from any possible distractions. Make sure that you're using a hardwired desktop or a laptop that has both audio and video capability. And feel free to use any research resources that you're familiar with, whether that be books, notes, the internet. Your interview is open book. The only thing that we ask is that you just cannot use any human assistance. Now, take advantage of those practice questions that are available and be prepared to explain your thought process. Now, of course, remember, this is an interview, so be professional, project that stellar customer service skills, and let your personality shine through. And of course, last but not least, don't forget to relax and have some fun with it. Now, so you've heard a lot about Intuit today. You've heard about who we are, our mission, our benefits to work here, as well as the journey of our tax experts. And then from me, a recruiter, on the roles that are available, the requirements for the role, the recruitment process you'll follow to hopefully becoming a part of the TurboTax Live team. But before I hand back to Laura to conclude today's webinar, I wanted to take a couple more minutes to let you know about our training platform offered to tax professionals like yourself who are interested in additional training to further stand out from the crowd when applying for a role on the TurboTax Live team. So we offer the perfect opportunity for you to do this through our Intuit Academy training program. Now, this online training program is a great way to either showcase your knowledge and get your resume in front of our recruiters if you've already qualified, or it'll help enhance your skills if you're not quite yet qualified for a position with us. Now, this online training platform is going to be your one-stop shop for all things related to learning, growing your tax career, and beefing up your resume. It's designed with a community-first approach where we offer free tax courses and exams. So right now we currently offer tax level 1, tax level 2, a cryptocurrency specialty course, and there's a few other ones available there, like bookkeeping and stuff. Now, you can take our courses and exams at your own pace and at your own time. Now, apart from being free, what are the key incentives that the Intuit Academy offers? Well, first of all, you don't need any prior experience to take this course. And as you know, in today's job market, not having enough experience can be a tough hurdle to cross. The Intuit Academy can serve as a great starting point for you to get comfortable with the tax industry in general, so that you can learn it at your own pace and take the exams on a schedule that works for you. Second, if you do have prior tax experience, you're already at a huge advantage. Now, you can either take the course or skip the course and go straight to the exam to showcase that knowledge. Now, these courses can serve as a great refresher as well for those of you who've already do have lots of tax experience. Now, either way, once you take and pass the exam, you will earn your Intuit Academy badge, which will help you stand out for jobs such as our TurboTax Live roles at Intuit. Now, we've also launched our tax preparation program on the Intuit Academy. This is a great way to get tax prep experience for those of you who have none. If you receive your Intuit Academy badge level 1 and complete the tax prep program, then there may be some cases where no prior experience is required to apply for the tax associate position. Now, just keep in mind, though, that we do have limited spots for this pathway. So we encourage you to sign up and get started today if you want this opportunity to get hired. Now, if you're interested, please do enroll, get started on your journey, and stand out for the job that you want with us here at Intuit. Okay, so now I'm going to end here and I will pass the mic back to Laura so she can wrap things up. Laura?
Thank you. Appreciate you, Santiago. That was a lot of information. We also did just drop the link in the chat box for the Intuit Academy. So you've got that there. All right, we are ready for our last poll today. We would like to know, will you apply to be a tax professional? So your choices are, yes, the opportunity is a great fit for me. No, the opportunity is not the right fit for me, or I'm still unsure at this time. All right, this one's important. Let us know if we helped answer all your questions here and you think it's a great fit or you're still unsure. Let us know. All right, let's see what the results are when they're in. Ooh, 77% said yes, the opportunity is a great fit for me. That is fantastic news. Still a few of you are unsure. That's all right. If you have questions, we still have some time. We've got a little less than 10 minutes, so we have time for Q&A. So make sure you start adding those questions to the Q&A box. And let me see what we have here. Yes, we are definitely sending out a recording so you can review this session again. So don't worry about that. I will go over a couple of our frequently asked questions in case you missed any of that information throughout the webinar. We often get asked, is this a year-round role? Again, this is just seasonal, and the months worked are during the tax season from January to April. We are currently hiring for the US. Our Canadian roles have been filled for the season. This is a role where you are paid a W-2, so you're not a contractor. We often get that. This is like a 1099 position. It is not. Our team is doing a great job of answering all our questions in the chat. If you have applied and haven't heard, we appreciate you. Just put your name and email there in the Q&A box, and we will make sure to have someone follow up with you. So I think there is been a lot of questions around, can you apply without experience? Or are you looking for people that already have experience? I think the answer is both, right? We predominantly need folks that have paid tax experience, right? Our customers want to talk to people that have that expertise to give advice and help them prepare. But we do have roles, the tax associate roles, where you are able to apply with little or no experience. However, the Intuit Academy is required to help supplement that knowledge. Now, my understanding is that we have filled our tax associate roles for the season. Santiago, am I speaking out of turn there? Can you confirm
Hi,
that?
Laura. It's Stephanie. I can
Hey.
add about that too
Thank
if you want
you.
real quick. So
Sure.
Intuit was running a program where if you took the Intuit Academy, passed your badge, you were put into the tax simulation. And then if you passed that, we were able to consider you with no experience. That program has completely ended. The end date for that was December 15th. So now the current requirement is if you take the Intuit Academy and you get your level 1 badge, you still have to have 1 year of recent tax experience, having completed a minimum of 15 1040 tax returns.
Okay, excellent. That was very clear. Thank you so much. I think there were a lot of questions around that. Appreciate you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Just wanted to quickly piggyback off of that. I did see a couple questions in the chat around VITA experience. If you do have your tax level 1 badge, something like VITA experience would still qualify.
Great. Okay, keep those questions coming. We've got a few more minutes. So some questions around how long the tax certification, like the Intuit Academy classes take. I'm not sure I know the answer to that. I don't know if you do, Santiago. I mean, they are at your own pace, so you can certainly kind of power through those as fast as you'd like, or take your time if you need to. I don't know, Santiago, are you kind of familiar with the hours?
So of course, you know, the being self-paced factor does take into account here. The fact that you can skip the actual course itself and go straight into the exam as well. But if you do go through the exam, I say that I've heard it's roughly about 30 hours to complete all of the modules to complete the tax level 1 course.
Okay, that's helpful. Kim, I like your suggestion for adding another option to the poll. Thank you for that. Jamie, you have a good question about, I don't have any tax prep experience yet, but I do have customer service and some bookkeeping experience. I would actually recommend you towards our QuickBooks Live roles. Unfortunately, we aren't currently hiring at the moment for those, but I would definitely keep an eye out on our career site. That might be a great opportunity for you since you don't have any tax preparing experience. Somebody's asking a question about the bookkeeping Intuit Academy. That is not required for this role. That's for our QuickBooks Live roles, or if you're just interested in learning more about bookkeeping and expanding your knowledge there, but not required for the tax roles. All right, we are kind of nearing the end here, and I want to certainly respect everyone's time. So again, any last minute questions, do get them in there and we'll make sure to have somebody follow up with you. If you have not heard again and you're waiting for a call back from a recruiter, make sure you put your name and email in the Q&A chat. And we have also added a survey link to the chat. So we would definitely appreciate your time before you leave to just fill that out, a couple of questions. We would love to hear from you and know if we answered all of your questions for you. We want to thank you so much for your time and all of your participation and questions today. I think it was a great conversation. Thank you so much.